Um, Obviously pleased with the win. Having an opportunity to go on the road and get a conference win, that was the number one goal this week. And you never know how those games are going to unfold from the standpoint of what as far as what's going to transpire throughout the game. You have a poor kickoff coverage and a poor kick and kickoff coverage to start the game, and they get it out past midfield and they score 2 plays later, so you're down 7-0 and you're like a minute into the game. All right, so we got settled down defensively, and got some stops, and started moving the football. I've talked about this last couple of weeks, as we keep trying to find our identity on offense, and being able to run and throw. I was real proud of our running game. I was real proud of our running backs and our offensive line, and to be able to keep us somewhat balanced. And the big runs. It's been several. I know last year we didn't have any big runs, so to be able to have a couple backs with some big runs, I mean, those are momentum changers, and being able to flip the field and stuff. So real proud of our backs. So you're up 17-7, and then you get a crucial penalty, which you go back and watch the tape. I disagree. I don't think it was not a throat-slashing gesture, okay? But it is something we can control to not even, give the official, an opportunity to make that mistake, okay? But that was crucial on a third down. And then they got the momentum back and scored. Now it's 17-14. The momentum has swung at the half. But I was real proud. It was really a growth opportunity for us to get into the locker room and, say, we still got the lead. If you win the second half, you win the game. Okay, that's the bottom line. You can't fix, one mistake's is not worse than any other mistake. And so real proud of the kids and the maturity that they showed at halftime, and our staff, and then come back out and now we didn't necessarily, it took us a little while to get going there in that third quarter as far as getting the stop, moving the ball, okay, but when you win games on the road and you go back and look, things like that have to happen. Your special teams, flipping the field, and the punt return, and Terry getting the ball down, inside the 5-yard line, and then your defense scores. Those are things that you talk about all the time, and good teams, those things happen to good teams. A little bit disappointed we couldn't put the game away back on offense, I guess, when we had 6 minutes, but, you're up by 10. I wasn't going to, I was going to make them beat us. I wasn't going to, give them an opportunity for a sack or fumble or something like that. So, hey, we had to put our defense back on the field, but real proud of them to go out there and get the stops and get the pick to finish the game. So 10-point win, and that moves you to this week. And talking about Tennessee Tech, I think Coach Alexander's done a great job. I mean, you turn the tape on, guys. I would tell you they're very similar to us from last year to this year. Okay, they're the young kids they played last year, from the quarterback to some offensive linemen, some defensive players took their lumps last year. They've added some guys to it. They've gotten bigger. They've gotten stronger. They understand their schemes better. And they're 4-2, and they just lost in overtime to a second-round playoff team from last year in Southeast Missouri. So give their program and their staff a lot of credit for the improvement that they've made. And they're I would tell you, this is probably the best Tech team we probably played in 4 or 5 years. It's a good football team, and we got to go on the road and play them. So looking forward to practice this afternoon, and we'll go from there.
We talked about confidence level last week after the home win. We're stating that you go on the road and be a team that, when we talked last week, was a very talented team. Was really going to get a chance to do that again. So how much now do you think the confidence level goes up from one week to the next, having done a road win?
Well, I think you're right. Just by human nature, it's going to go up. But if we'll handle things the right way, and the things that we'll handle the right way are, and we've done it the last 3 weeks, of value in practice, valuing the reps in practice, taking the coaching from the meeting rooms, out there on the field, and being as humble with a swagger as much as we can, to where that every rep, every period, those coaches cliches of come into play, of getting the most out of our team. And I think we've done that the last 2 weeks. So. Now the challenge is to stay the course. Don't listen to what somebody tells you that you're any good or whatever. You got to keep that chip on your shoulder. We're not good enough to do anything but that. And so, and I'll make sure they get that message today in team meeting.
You mentioned the running game and how well it did. You look at the numbers, and obviously, like I plays, you hit some big plays.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right, because there's some games to where you could have some, you can have 200 yards rushing, but if you don't have those touchdown runs, right, then everything gets down to the red zone, and did you convert? And you go back and you critique, how you did in the red zone. Okay, so but no, to be able to have the long runs, 4 touchdowns is just such a huge momentum swing and a backbreaker for opponents. So that was good, and LaMarcus Young adding to that running back mix, and of course Peyton every week has been very proud of his growth, his development from last year to this year. So, now I want to make sure the offensive line gets enough of that credit too, because there was some physicality. Just being able to get the right hats on the hats and being precise. With our strain has been the emphasis the last going on 3 weeks now of, hey, you got to be able to get to the right person, all right? And when you get there, you got to have balance and you got to have strain to physically move the person. And there were some clips that were very encouraging from this past week's game.
Are your guys kind of taking on this personality of the no names? Because I saw a story yesterday about your team being named staff team of the week. And the guy quoted you, he right there quoted you saying no names, and he used it in the story 2 or 3 times.
Did he?
No names.
I haven't even read it yet. No, I think so, and I think that comes from, it's been, you guys heard me talk about T.J. Jefferson, okay? T.J.'s the guy who walked on our program, has been a backup for 4 years, even though he was a very important piece of the puzzle, okay? So now this is, his leadership is sprinkled out all through this team. And so, so it starts with him, and then it goes to Julian Crutchfield, and then it goes to Austin Pickett, and so that then that bleeds everybody else on the team. And I tell you how another emphasis that is his team, and he's given us great leadership, was when Cam Ordway got the penalty. He said, "Coach, I did not make that gesture." Okay, he's and you see it on tape. He's up, he's up here by his nose. Okay, but he knew that TJ was going to, was the big brother was going to have something to say about it, and they got in the locker room. And so as we're getting ready to go to kickoff return after they scored, I see Ordway turn and look at TJ and say, "I'm not listening to it in the locker room," because he knew TJ was going to address it in the locker room, okay? And so, it's kind of like your big brother, he's going to be in your ear, "Hey, do what's right for the family, do what's right, for the team. Don't put us in those situations, working too hard to get to this point." That's kind of what we've done the last 2 weeks, okay? So you got to make sure that nothing creeps in, the clutter doesn't creep in, the execution keeps climbing, and this team keeps getting better, because you're going to have in some aspects, a more difficult challenge this week than you just faced this past week, because the quarterback is such a playmaker, and everything goes through him. Last week, everything went through the running game, and we held them under 100 yards, and the whole game plan was geared toward that. Okay, now the kid threw, for 300 and something yards. So now we've got to be able to make sure that we can manage both those things this week, because this quarterback can run and throw, and he's such a good little playmaker. But no, this team is, where were we picked in the league? Where, and us and Tennessee Tech were both kind of playing on that mantra, I'm sure, right now.
Look at the defense too. When you staying with that, is you think maybe one of the reasons that you've been performing at the higher level? You look at the starting lineup; it's been the same starting lineup for four straight games, and then there's only two minor changes, or 3 changes in that group.
Yeah, the defensive line has some depth, and we play a lot of people up front. But those 3 guys have done a great job to start for us. Now this week, if you go back and look compared to the Murray week, Coach Hankins, we had a lot of substitution pattern on the linebacker corps. We played 6 linebackers this game, so a lot of guys got more depth in a running football game, a physical game where we played 80 snaps. Not as much substitution on the back end as that I would like, as we're still trying to develop our depth, but due to necessity to heat, and there was an eye injury as well by Cam in the second half. Redshirt freshman Tamel was able to play. All right, so you'd like to be able to have 22. I think right now we're playing more, probably more like 18. Okay, so we're still trying to find a couple of the guys that are game ready.
This week's game is the first of the Sergeant York Trophy
Yeah.
Series games. Is this something that you emphasize and stress with the team?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we were 2-1 last year, as bad a season as we had. But you know, I believe the trophy's still at Austin Peay. From the year before, even though we beat them last year. So yeah, I mean, it's a goal on the way to the goal. It's something to be proud of here as an institution in the state of Tennessee. So no, I'll definitely we'll hit that today in team meeting as well, and then hopefully you can get to 1-0 in that, which gets you to 3-0, which gets you to the next goal and the next goal. So a lot of things at stake on a weekly basis.
Coach, you have the second best winning percentage of all Division I teams in the state of Tennessee over the last 10 years. How big is that to win those battles, whether it's recruiting or whatever?
I'm glad you brought that up. I hadn't looked at that since last year, since it certainly dipped from last year. But no, I'm proud of that. I am proud of that, and there's a lot of things that go into that. It's all the players and all the coaches, administration. I mean, it's a tier. You can't. There's not one more important than another. It takes all those little different bricks and stuff. But each year's different, as you know. Last year's different this year, and next year will be different. I want to make sure that we get this team, to win as many games as they're possible to win. But there is some satisfaction to look back and say that, our formula here at UT Martin over a period of time is steady, and there is, a foundation of it, and it's not just a flash in the pan, one team wonder, which, I'm proud of that. So let's keep adding to it.